Welcome to Afric Vibe News, your go-to source for bold, authentic African stories. We bring you the truth behind the headlines, straight from the continent's heart. Disclaimer: content shared here is for informational purposes only and not intended as financial, legal, or political advice. Always do your own research. In a stunning shift in global trade, China has announced zero tariffs for African countries, a move set to transform the economic landscape of the continent. As doors swing open for unprecedented growth, experts say this could redefine China-Africa relations forever. But what are the real stakes, and who stands to gain the most? Stay tuned as we unpack the opportunities, risks, and global ripple effects of this historic trade decision.
China is making a bold move that could change everything for African nations. They are saying that they will open their markets with zero tariffs for all African countries. But what does this really mean? And how will it affect the relationship between China and Africa? Let's find out more in today's video. Welcome back to our channel, where we tell you all the latest news about China and the world. Before we start, please don't forget to subscribe and press the bell button to get notified about our upcoming videos. Also, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Your support will always be appreciated. Now let's dive into the topic of this video. With the announcement that China will remove all tariffs on imports from African countries, a new era of trade between the two regions is about to begin. This groundbreaking decision is expected to unlock billions of dollars worth of trade opportunities and boost economic growth in Africa. The removal of tariffs will make African goods more competitive in the Chinese market and is likely to lead to an increase in exports of key products such as natural resources, agricultural products, and manufactured goods. Additionally, this move will reduce the cost of imported goods for African consumers and businesses, which could help to stimulate economic activity across the continent. China is also providing incentives for businesses to invest in Africa, such as tax breaks and subsidies, which could help to attract foreign direct investment to the region. Furthermore, China is working with African governments to improve infrastructure and logistics, which will facilitate the transportation of goods across the continent. All of these measures are aimed at creating a more favorable business environment in Africa and harnessing the continent's vast potential for growth and development. The impact of China's decision to remove tariffs on imports from Africa is likely to be felt for years to come. By reducing trade barriers and investing in the region, China is helping to create a more integrated and prosperous Africa. Now let us explore some of the reasons behind China's decision to remove tariffs on imports from Africa. One of the primary reasons for China's decision to remove tariffs on imports from Africa is to boost economic growth in the continent. Africa is home to some of the fastest growing economies in the world, and China recognizes the potential of the region as a trading partner. By removing trade barriers, China is opening up its massive consumer market to African businesses, which could lead to significant increases in exports and economic growth. Another reason for China's decision is to strengthen its relationship with African countries. China has been investing heavily in infrastructure projects across Africa, and it sees the removal of tariffs as a way to further deepen its ties with the continent. By reducing trade barriers, China is demonstrating its commitment to supporting Africa's economic development and creating jobs for African citizens. Furthermore, the removal of tariffs is part of China's broader strategy to reduce its reliance on the United States dollar in international trade. China has been promoting the use of its currency, the renminbi, in cross-border transactions, and is encouraging African countries to use the renminbi for bilateral trade. By reducing trade barriers with Africa, China is able to reduce the use of the US dollar in bilateral trade, which aligns with its goal of reducing its exposure to the US currency. The impact of China's decision to remove tariffs on imports from Africa is likely to be felt across a wide range of industries. Here are some of the key sectors that are expected to benefit from the removal of trade barriers. The first sector that will benefit from this move is the natural resources industry. Africa is rich in natural resources, including gold, diamonds, cobalt, and oil. These resources are in high demand in China, where they are used in industries such as electronics and manufacturing. By removing tariffs on these products, African producers will be able to compete more effectively in the Chinese market and could see significant increases in exports. The agricultural sector is another area where African countries are likely to benefit. Africa has a large amount of arable land and a growing population, which has led to an increase in agricultural production in recent years. By reducing trade barriers, African countries will be able to export more agricultural products to China, such as fruits, vegetables, and meat. This could help to boost agricultural productivity and generate more income for farmers in Africa. The manufacturing sector is also expected to benefit from the removal of tariffs. China has been encouraging foreign companies to set up manufacturing operations in Africa as part of its Belt and Road Initiative. By reducing trade barriers, African manufacturers will be able to access the Chinese market more easily and could see an increase in demand for their products. This could lead to job creation and economic growth in Africa's manufacturing sector. It's important to note that while the removal of tariffs is likely to benefit these sectors, other sectors may not benefit as much. For example, the automotive industry in Africa is still relatively small and may not be able to take advantage of the increased access to the Chinese market. However, as the industry continues to grow in Africa, it could eventually benefit from the removal of trade barriers. Overall, the removal of tariffs on imports from Africa is a positive step towards creating a more integrated and prosperous Africa. By reducing trade barriers and investing in the region, China is helping to unlock Africa's vast potential for growth and development. It remains to be seen how individual African countries will take advantage of this opportunity, but the potential benefits are clear. As African businesses become more competitive in the global market, the continent could see a significant increase in exports and economic growth, leading to improved living standards for millions of people. As China opens its doors to African countries with zero tariffs, a new era of trade and economic cooperation is dawning. This groundbreaking move is set to unlock unprecedented opportunities for African nations, allowing them to tap into one of the world's largest consumer markets. By eliminating tariffs, China is signaling its commitment to fostering deeper ties with Africa and supporting the continent's economic growth and development. This initiative is part of China's broader strategy to enhance its partnerships in Africa, where it has already invested heavily in infrastructure and other strategic sectors. As African businesses take advantage of this new market access, they will be able to expand their customer base, increase their exports, and contribute to job creation and poverty reduction in their home countries. The impact of this policy is likely to be felt across a range of industries, from agriculture and mining to manufacturing and services. As African goods become more competitive in the Chinese market, they will be in a prime position to capture a significant share of this lucrative market. Moreover, the closer trade ties between China and Africa will help to diversify both regions' economies and reduce their reliance on traditional trading partners. This will create new opportunities for investment and economic growth, particularly in developing countries. To ensure that African countries are able to take full advantage of this new market access, they will need to prioritize trade facilitation measures, such as improving logistics and transportation infrastructure and reducing bureaucratic barriers. Additionally, African businesses will need to invest in capacity building to ensure that they can meet the demands of the Chinese market. Nevertheless, the potential benefits of this policy are enormous, and African countries are well positioned to become key players in China's global trade network. That's it for today. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, please don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about this topic. Also, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel so that you will be the first to know when we upload a new video. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.